Okay, it's 1:30. I will call our regular commission meeting to order. All commissioners are present. And if you go around the room to do introductions, so I'll start with you, Brandon.
Brandy Warburton, Morrow.
Walter Timmy with Banner Bank. Ricardo Rosales, Banner Bank. Mark Patton, Morrow.
Lisa Mulder, Morrow. Diane Hendricks, Morrow. Katie Vest,
Nick Rory, AWS, Jay Marlowe, AWS,
Jake Kane, Morrow.
Matt Jensen, Morrow County.
Justin Nelson, okay.
Greg Noble, Morrow County.
Nancy Graham, Morrow.
Brian Lemke, Carpenter Union.
Eric Oscar, Morrow.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And on Zoom.
Okay, we'll start with Governor Gazette.
Hi, it's Annie at the Gazette, just reporting the meeting.
Thank you. And guest. Ryan Gleason.
Good afternoon, Rayanne Gleason with CFM Advocates, contract lobbyist for the Port of Morrow.
Thank you. Aaron Palmquist.
Aaron Palmquist, City of Aragon.
And Raven.
Hi, Raven Hayes, here on my own.
Thank you.
Okay, thank everybody.
And Karen is welcome.
Okay, we'll take Hannah prepared and treasurer when she gets in here. Next, is there a public comment period? We're looking here, nothing there, okay. Next is our consent agenda. We have, 3 items there for meeting minutes. As commissioners all had things to review those.
Yes, and I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. John is moved, and Rick is seconded to approve that, and any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next is legislative updates. And we have Ryan and Kirby on there, so Kirby, I'll give you the floor.
All righty. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, we're good.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you, commissioners. Great to see you as always. Try to keep things pretty brief today, but it has been quite a month since my last update. Last time we talked, Joe Biden was still running for president, so shows you how much things have changed. So obviously, Kamala Harris has secured the nomination for the Democratic ticket. Biden finally dropped out after weeks of building pressure. Harris is also named her running mate, Tim Walz. As you've probably gathered by now, he used to be in Congress, now Minnesota's governor. But ultimately, the change in the ticket has obviously upended the race, translated to big changes in the polls, fundraising, enthusiasm. Up until last month, polls were continually showing Biden trailing Trump in the polls. Since the switch, they're not only showing a big favorability upswing for Harris, they're also showing her with a lead in the polls. So pretty remarkable shift in a short period of time. But all that to be said, if there's anything we've learned over the past 5 to 10 years in politics, is that the polls only show one part of the story, and ultimately things are going to come down to key battleground states, and there's a lot that can happen between now and November. So needless to say, in terms of DC and Capitol Hill, very much in campaign mode now. Things are very quiet on the legislative front. Everyone is back in their districts or states for the August recess. They'll return for 3 weeks in September and then go home again for the final stretch in October before the election. Before they left for the August recess, House Republicans passed a few more spending bills, and the Senate Appropriations Committee marked up each of their bills. Government funding is going to expire at the end of September, so members are going to have to pass some type of a short-term extension before they leave for that October campaign sprint, and are expected to pass something that will go through at least mid-November, probably December, to keep the lights on. There is a push to extend things even further into January or February, primarily by Freedom Caucus Republicans who think that are very confident that Trump is going to win and think they can be in a better negotiating position then. So ultimately, wherever they land, we think a short-term bill is going to be a pretty drama-free affair, but in current Congress, nothing is ever very predictable. So we'll see what will happen. But on the earmarks front, so now that the Senate Appropriations Committee has marked up all of their bills, we have seen the text of each of those. Unfortunately, our projects were not included in those bills, which means we're out of the running this year. It's not a huge surprise, as we've talked about. We were riding a 2-year streak of helping Irrigan and Boardman secure business incubator projects, but obviously still a bummer and disappointing. We will be in close communication, as always, with Merkley and Wyden's office on those projects as we close out the year. Talk with them about if there's anything we should be doing differently in terms of feedback they received from the Appropriations Committee. But ultimately, I think we'll be in a good spot to give it another run next year. And then lastly, just quickly on WIFIA, I've been working very closely with Merkley and Wyden's offices on additional outreach to EPA regarding the port's application for WIFIA financing for the wastewater infrastructure expansion. They've both been very supportive and in direct contact with EPA, which is very helpful as we continue to talk to them and try to get to favorable loan terms. So I know you've got a lot of other items on the agenda, so I'll stop there. But as always, happy to take any questions or comments.
Commission with that for Kirby? Okay, nothing today, Kirby. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
Okay, and we didn't have anybody else up there, did we?
Right.
I can provide a quick update,
Okay,
if that's okay.
yes.
As Kirby just mentioned, the WIFIA loan is obviously, you all know, critical to completing some of the port's wastewater system upgrades and meeting requirements with the port's permit with DEQ. So Dale and I at CFM on the state team have been working closely with Kirby to keep DEQ and the governor's office updated, on where things are at with WIFIA and the progress that's been made. I've also been working with MIF on the proposed permit modification that you heard about today from Parametrics. I'm really glad Parametrics was able to spend some time walking all of you through the proposed changes. It's pretty exciting on the federal level when it comes to the politics and what's happening. Less exciting at the state level. We're likely to see very similar leadership in Salem. Makeup in the chambers will more or less be the same. Democrats have control of both chambers over in Salem, I should say. One thing that'll be on the ballot statewide that's fairly new in November is a new 3% tax on corporate revenues above $25 million, which would fund rebates to Oregonians, every resident in the state. It was announced yesterday that there's broad bipartisan opposition. So all the presiding officers, the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, along with all of the Republican and Democratic leaders in their respective chambers, all came out opposed, and Governor Tina Kotek has also come out opposed to Measure 118. It will also have a significant impact on current and future state budgets if passed by voters. So that will be a measure that you will see on the ballot in November. And then after the election, lawmakers at the state level will be heading into a long session in 2025. This fall, they're going to start to frame out what the focus will be. Most of that focus will remain on housing and human services, behavioral health issues that we've continued to see in the past sessions. Unfortunately, on the revenue side, the outlook is not looking great. Costs continue to rise for state agencies implementing directives from the legislature, but revenues have flattened out and the federal funds are beginning to dry up. A couple additional policy areas that we'll see the legislature take up in 2025 is the potential for a water policy package, which would be our opportunity to move forward industrial reuse, especially in this critical groundwater area. And the last elephant in the room for the legislature to address is getting a transportation package across the finish line. It's not likely to be as big as the $5.3 billion package that was passed in 2017, but it will target maintenance, operations, and safety. So I tried to run through quickly, knowing that there's a lot on the agenda. I'm happy to take any questions.
You think we're Ryan? Okay, you're good too. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to old business, CDA updates. So much to go on there. Nothing,
We have a
meeting got
meeting-
canceled, yeah.
Meeting got canceled, so there's nothing new. We were trying to get one rescheduled.
Okay. All right, next will be the WIPIA application update.
I believe they both gave you an update and we'll get into it a little bit more when we do resolution 2024-11, if that's okay.
Okay. All right, next is ordinance 2024-02 for a second reading. Should have that ready. Are all the commissioners still okay to read that by title?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Well, that is, on our field here, it's, Port of Morrow Industrial Wastewater Ordinance 2024-02 to replace ordinance 90-3. Do I need to ask for any comments on that right now? Or is that later on?
We're ready to approve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gotta go with the comments back.
Well, just make sure there's no comment on this resolution, on this ordinance from anybody.
I have none.
Okay,
None.
yeah, anybody in the audience is what it is, so. Okay. All right, well then that gets our second reading requirement. So I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the Port of Morrow Industrial Wastewater Ordinance 2024-02 to replace ordinance 90-3.
Okay. John has moved. There's a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Kelly's a second. Any other discussion on this ordinance? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimous. Okay, item D is our public meeting training SDAO.
So we had discussed before the new law that would expect that each one of the board members have to take the public meeting law training during your tenure, so not exactly every year, but at least once during your tenure. They didn't have, our Vector Solutions didn't have an approved training. They still don't have an approved training, but they do have an online training that they're trying to get approved. So like, it's on there now, it's 16 minutes. If you guys would like to do it together, we can do it together. We can set up a time to do it together. I can send you a link and you can do it by yourself. It's a video, whatever. And it would satisfy the requirement as long as they approve it, but this is through SDAO. So they're hoping to get it approved. But it's getting close to the end of the year. It is part of our best practices. So the 2% credit that we get for each thing, this is 2%. As long as each one of you completes it, then we'll get that 2% credit towards our insurance premium.
Oh. When does the time expire on that?
November
Is
1st.
that
In
November
order to
1st?
be the best practices.
Okay. Okay.
So this is their approved training for that. We have everything else done. We just need to get this one requirement, which is 2%.
Yeah. So this satisfies SEO insurance.
Correct.
That's not necessarily the.
Yes,
Okay.
but they're trying to get it through the
Okay.
Oregon Government Ethics Division. They're still trying to get it approved. They have not gotten it approved.
I'd probably like to do it on my own if I can. It's 16 minutes. Could it
It's
be-
16
could it
minutes.
be
It's
sent
just
out
a
to us?
video.
I'm okay doing it myself.
there a test afterwards?
I don't believe so, I haven't watched it yet, but I don't believe so. If it is, if it's like all of our other trainings, it's literally like
Repeat.
4 questions.
Okay.
Send us the link. Send you the link, but I said.
Everybody else okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, if you'll just let me know so I can check the box on our best practices survey and get that 2%.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. And then for the rest of it, I went to that and normal type stuff, the state hasn't defined what media is yet either, the way, Tom dropped her name to give the training. Yes, you know, she said, no, they haven't tackled that yet, but I'm sure they get lots of questions about it, just getting there. What they did, I guess clarify was, emails, like between us commissioners. Scheduling is not a meeting, and we talked about meetings, you know, if Brandy sends out an email, hey, can we have a meeting on 5th to all of us, we can reply to all of us. And say, yeah, that's okay, that's not considered a meeting, that's,
Okay.
the way she put it up on the screen, it explicitly said schedule.
Okay. It's not another meeting, scheduled meeting.
It's not a meeting schedule, yeah. And then all the rest of it was pretty good stuff.
Oh, good.
So, but normal stuff we hear before,
And you did.
things like that, but that did clear that up as far as emails between,
It
you
is
know.
awkward,
a commission.
it feels like a vacuum, you say alone, say yes, yeah, it would be,
Yeah.
it would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I consider even when Natasha asks for one of us to come in and sign checks, you know, that's really scheduling too, to me. You know, cause she puts it out there and if I don't know that anybody else says yes or no, but not gonna say it.
Well, but she usually pretty good about
Yeah.
saying, I've got to sign
Yeah.
this stuff.
I thought it was really good training and it's interesting to take the class from Eileen versus taking it from George Buckle. Their examples are different, so if you have an opportunity to get in front of Eileen, you can take that class.
Okay.
She did a good job.
Okay. Any other questions on that? So on other, you wanted to talk about an IGA, is that correct?
I do, so at the city county court meeting in Hefner, Aaron Palmquist gave me the intergovernmental agreement for CREZ 3. With the city of Erie with the area of influence. This is a document, and I didn't have it on the agenda, we had approved this document in July of 2021. At our July meeting. So in my mind, we'd already approved this document, it needed to go through signature for City of Erie and Morrow County. Board members have changed since 2021. And so the Erie redrafted it as I was reading this yesterday. There is a date in here that I'm concerned about because we know it's no longer accurate. And it is under termination of the area of influence IGA. It says this intergovernmental agreement as it governs negotiations with eligible firms for city area of influence. Terminates upon the expiration of the CREZ 3 designation. As provided in the 2020 Director's Confirmation of Positive Determination dated October 2, 2020. The date the CREZ 3 expires is June 30th, 2025. And we know since this document was drafted, that date has changed to June 30th of 2030. So we can sign this as is and reaffirm our motion that we made July 14th of 2021. And then work on an amendment to the entire agreement that all 3 parties would go back and sign. In addition to that, Aaron has requested of me to work on additional area of influence for the city of Erie. which is also something that we need to go back before the crest board. So I guess at this point, I'm going to ask you to sign this document again as drafted with the new signatories from Morrow County and the city of Erie. And then we'll work on an amendment that might be broader in scope.
There were no other modifications to it then?
Now, I think it's
We had a discussion at the city county board meeting about the expiration of maybe checking the paperwork.
different conversation though, because we know that the state has extended the deadlines. This is a document that has a hard deadline in it. It doesn't say whatever the state deadline is, it's a hard deadline.
Yeah, we should clarify that the CRESTR doesn't expire until that date.
Yeah.
How would we do that? How would we research that?
Okay. Otherwise, yeah, that's the only change or the
So I guess your action is a motion to reaffirm this document that you signed in 2021 and signed here.
Okay, so moved. Okay. That was so moved by Rick.
I'll second.
And second by John. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimous. Okay. Anything the commission has under other?
Yes, I have a couple of things. One, well, the Morrow development project in Pepper. Could I just have a brief, reminder of that project and how to move it forward? What things could be done? What steps could be taken? Our money's getting less valuable all the time, with that building there and the money to build the building. Is there something that we can do to move this along? I think there was a question at one time about, Wickfed running the project or being a building coordinator, project coordinator, but they had some questions. Is that something that I could get with you, Lisa, on, and maybe work with Sam to get those answers? If it's still in the commission's interest to have possibly Wickfed oversee that project. And I need some information a little bit on its Morrow development funds. They're doing that, so it's really not technically a port project, or it is, or.
I think we'd have to reaffirm that with more development, but the intent at the time was that more development would own the building and then transfer to the port at a later date.
Okay.
And I know we've got I'm looking at Mark and Jacob for some input here. Jacob's got the building designed and ready to go. Correct.
It's ready to go to bid for the design to be done, so we're doing a pre-manufactured steel, so we did a concept and then it's ready to bid whenever we necessary.
Okay. Is it okay with the commission if I pursue this a little bit with staff on this and talk more development, or?
I need a 90-foot overview of what you're talking about, because this is before me.
And it's the building that was, the funding was pledged 3 years ago, 3+ years ago for, what's the term I'm looking for the building? Flex space building into an outside, and the sign's been up there for quite some time. But we need to make project. Progress, thank you, not much progress on the project. I think it's, I don't think we want it to go a lot longer if we can help it. And I just would like to, want to do whatever I can to move it along. If I need to go talk to more development or something like that, I'd like to do that and answer any questions that say somebody that would take it on. The staff is plenty busy with the things that are going on here. I understand that, but if Wickfed could step in and do it, I'd love to have them take it on and do it.
So a little bit more about the project, more development had pledged $750,000 for flex space in Hefner at the mill site. Same side of the road as the OSU building. We designed about 4,800 square feet for 4 bays to go there that would be available to contractors, whoever is needing extra space in there.
So that's a match type, or that was 750,000 for the whole project, that was going to supply the whole project, and now you're worried that that $750 or something.
The flex space is kind of designed to be. It's gonna be a shell, and then as soon as you get a client in, then usually that client will do the improvements in that space. And that's basically what we do with our 16,000 square foot flex space in East Beach. Or getting paid for the improvements, we actually built the shell. Customer came in, paid for all the improvements, and took over the lease. So kind of the same kind of starting, it's below $700,000. All it's gonna do is build a shell. So the finishes are really expensive. I don't know what it is.
I'd like to make progress on it, if we can, but come on.
I don't have concerns with you know, following up on that. With anybody else?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other thing on there? Okay, anybody else or other on old business? Okay, moving on to new business, AWS updates. Haley's here to give us that.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation to come back. I know it's here last summer, committed to coming back and sharing some updates, and Erica's gonna pull up a couple of slides. I will be brief, I promise, and share a few things, but first wanted to introduce a couple of my colleagues. Nick McGordy is on our supply team, so wanted to put a face with a name. He works very closely with Mark, and so you'll see some new landscaping, outside of some of our, data center campuses here, and so Nick helped get that done, and Mark's working on that, and then Jay Marlowe is our water manager for the region. You'll see him probably out and about a little bit. He lives way down the road in Oregon, and so really excited to have David join our team. It's just been a phenomenal colleague to work with. So with that, thank you, Eric, for pulling that up. So just wanted to highlight a couple updates from this last year, share a little bit of our economic impact latest figures, and then also wanted to share a little bit about our community engagement initiatives. And then better than hearing from me, we were able to highlight a couple different programs that we're supporting seniors in the north end of the county and south end of the county. We're able to utilize a videographer here from Boardman who does phenomenal work. Many of you know, right? And so you'll see and hear from both of those organizations a little bit more. And then also wanted to share a brand new initiative that we're kicking off here called Red Alternatives. So first of all, just a little bit of a snapshot of our economic impact. So since 2012, over 18 billion has been invested for capital and operating expenses. Estimated average full-time equivalent jobs is over 3,000 here in Morrow County. Just in 2023 alone, invested 33 million into the local economy through property taxes and fees. And then, as many of you know, we are the largest taxpayer in Morrow County, and really proud of that. In addition to being the largest, also paying more than the next 19 combined, which is something we're very proud of. But something that's really important to us is giving back to the local Morrow County community. So I just wanted to share a couple of updates with you. This next slide. So related to education, one of the things that we have done for a number of years now is support Kettner Daycare and Families First Childcare here. We know that not just at AWS, but across industry here, childcare has been a significant issue, and really want to help invest in those programs to make sure that people who are living and working in Morrow County have opportunity to have their kids in a safe, reliable place. We also partnered with GoSTEM out of LeGrand to provide STEAM kits to all fourth graders in Morrow County. We've also been working with Tori at the State Center to update the exhibit. So we're excited to get that. There's been some good progress made there, and hopefully I'll have a better update for you the next time, or hopefully it'll be finished. We also have really worked hard to promote continuing education opportunities and job opportunities for the local Morrow County community. So in addition to the $100,000 we've done in scholarships, I also wanted to show you just for the last couple of years, this is specific to the data center technician program, how many students out of the students, so that first number, 23 out of 24, For 23 out of the 24, school year, all but 2 students got job placements. In 22-23, everybody got, placed with a job from that program, and same in 21 and 22. There is a little bit of caveat there with this last year. This is if they want a job, how many of them were able to get a job. And as Pete Herberg, the department head, would share with you, pretty much all of them are able to get a job here locally if that's something that they want to do. And so this is a quote that I put up there, not something that Pete had shared externally. It was in an email, and I just felt like it was a great comment. So I wanted to include this. Seeing my students find jobs and launch their careers is truly the very best part of my work. I'm immensely grateful to AWS for their longstanding and generous support of our students. Thank you. So that was just in an email we shared, and I felt like that was a really kind thing to say, and something that I know we're really, really proud of as we look at those job opportunities are available here for Morrow County residents. Yes.
Can you have those jobs with AWS or?
Yes, yeah, many, yeah, all the data center technicians, sometimes they get added on as a contractor to get started with, but a lot of times those end up transitioning to full-time AWS roles, so it's a mix of both. Community, we also support the Morrow County Fair of Livestock Shows scholarships. If you've been down to the marina, there's been a number of new trees that have been planted recently over the last couple of months with Arbor Day tree donation, helping with the Safe Center expansion and AV equipment. We just helped with new sidewalks to connect to elementary schools who did not have a safe walking path in between. In addition to that, we've supported both South Morrow County Seniors Matter, and you'll hear a little bit more from that a little bit later on in the Boardman Senior Center, food pantries across Morrow County as well. And then go ahead, Eric, with this next one. So this is a community fund that we started a couple of years ago, knowing that there's a lot of small organizations that need assistance, either just to start a program or expand services that they're doing. And so I mentioned that we kickstarted this a couple years ago. This is just this last year, a couple of programs that received funding. And again, better than hearing from me, I think it's better to hear from them. So this first one is with the Boardman Pool Recreation Center and the senior program that they started. So short video. Want to start there?
My name is George Scheimer. I'm with Boardman Park and Rec District, and we started this program. It's a senior scholarship to pay for memberships for people that either can't afford it or they don't have insurance that will pay for their memberships. I just saw that there was a lot of seniors that weren't coming down here. And when I found out some of them didn't have the funds, that was the reason for me to get started. To have the dozen to 15 people already signed up that are going, I think that's a success already. They need to have that opportunity.
George told me he had this program that Amazon was helping with. I can keep myself in better physical condition working out a little bit. And I feel lucky that I'm as old as I am and I feel as well as I do.
I can walk straighter and I feel like my health is a lot better since I've done all this.
It's so great that Amazon helps people in this kind of situation. That's just part of the job that people need to do, where they can help one another.
So again, all credit to Mario. He does a great job doing a number of projects for the Boardman Chamber and across Morrow County, as many of you have seen his work. The other thing that I really appreciate about the video is it also gives us an opportunity to pay for this video work, provide it to these organizations, and then if they go out and they're trying to recruit more people, they're trying to look for additional funding, they've got a really good marketing tool that they're able to use that has cost them no additional funding. Because as we know, a lot of organizations and nonprofits do not have the marketing budget to do things like this, so. There we go. So just a couple changes. I just wanted to point out about the community fund. It used to be an annual program. And last fall, after we closed it, I actually had a South Morrow County organization reach out. It was a perfect project, exactly the type of thing that we wanted to support, and it just about filled me to say, sorry, we just gave out funding, next year, try again. And so we got together as a team and figured out what's a better way to do this, keep it consistently. The dates when it had been opening had changed a little bit, and so moving forward, it's open 2 times a year consistently, every year, January 1, July 1. We added an additional $50,000 to the budget, and so this is something that people will know consistently they can put in for. Again, grants up to $10,000 for nonprofits, and then also up to $6,000 this year, and it does need to change to $5,000 in the future, just because of some federal rules. So out there, but it's been a really good project for a lot of nonprofits here in the region. This next one is South Morrow County Seniors Matter, who I've got to know Jerry quite well, just a phenomenal human being doing incredible work in South Morrow County. But this last video is highlighting how they use the funding.
During COVID, our senior meal site completely fell apart, so we had no gathering space in Heppner for seniors.
We really believe that there's a need for seniors to have opportunities to be together, beyond just being fed a meal, being connected to the community and being encouraged emotionally. We have a lot of seniors here every week, every church in this community helping, besides high school students. We regularly have speakers that come to us from all kinds of different venues. The Heppner Chamber of Commerce suggested we might consider AV equipment. You know, we didn't have any, and ChangeX facilitated that grant, actually gave us a full amount of what we needed.
As soon as those screens came up, everybody was focused on them. They would see the announcements, and it really got to be an amazing way to communicate. It was invaluable.
Yeah, well, an organization like us, you're kind of dependent upon grant funding, so to be able to get those funds was super helpful for our group and what we do.
Well, without ChangeX grant funds, we couldn't have had this project completed, and it's been an amazing project for us.
So again, just a couple highlights of some different projects across the county that wanted to share from it. And finally, the last program that I just wanted to share a little bit about is, some of you might have seen, there was just an announcement this last spring on a program with Grid Alternatives. Grid Alternatives is a community solar program, and so this is a pilot program. So we're just getting started, and I selfishly am very excited that it's a pilot program here in Eastern Oregon. But contributing $1.2 million to get this program kicked off. The installs will start in Q4 of this year, but it includes 10 organizations. We've got 3 identified nonprofits in Morrow County across Oregon, Boardman, and Heppner. And so they're finalizing due diligence. Otherwise, I would be sharing the exact names with you. But those organizations, they get solar. It's a solar panels mostly will be on the roof, but it doesn't have to be on the roof. 25 kilowatts each, but the goal of that is, we know food pantries, a lot of nonprofit organizations, their costs are going up, in addition to their energy costs going up as well. And so we wanted to make sure that this was an opportunity. It's going to actually lower their cost, so there's no cost of participating in the program. All maintenance is provided by Grid Alternatives, and the solar systems are fully owned by the nonprofit organizations. And so hopefully that we're excited to see a year after those installs what that's actually meant for those nonprofits, and the hope is to expand that if it's a successful program as well. So more information to come on that, but just a couple highlights just wanted to share with you. And with that, if there's any questions, I think that's it for me. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions over here? Yes.
I always have questions. It's the same question that I always ask you. So you have a slide up there that said that there's 3,010 jobs in the region. So I'm assuming that's the Hermiston, Umatilla, Boardman, that's just Morrow County, so everyone hear that. But that's just the AWS jobs.
So that is all jobs associated, so if you break it down to total jobs by building, it ends up being roughly an average of about 50 jobs per building. So if you think of how many buildings per campus.
Okay, including.
Everybody that works on site.
Every contract employee, every security employee is all to that number.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's good. Okay, Clean Water Consortium. I think all of you have that in your packet. Dave, did you want to speak on that?
I do. My name is Dave Sykes, I'm the chairman of the Morrow County Commission. I'm here with Matt Johnson and with legal counsel Greg Gobles over there. And thanks for getting us on the agenda. And we'd like to make a little proposal to you today and see what your thoughts on that. Has to do with the nitrates in drinking water in Oklahoma and Morrow County. As you know, a lot of you, we've commissioned a study of GSI. It's more than a study, it's really it's extensive GSI water systems, which I guess you guys are looking at. They're top notch, you know. They're doing a study of the water right now. And they're testing the wells and they're looking at solutions to bring fresh water to the people in Oklahoma. And what they're looking at is we've kind of think it, and you guys probably think this way too, we've kind of divided the nitrate issue up into 3 levels. The lower level, let's call it that, is giving the water to the people immediately, which our health district is doing, our health department's doing right now in conjunction with the state. The upper level is the Oklahoma committee who's looking at long-term issues of nitrates in the aquifer, so forth. That's long-term. The GSI is focused on the middle, which is how to get drinking water to the people right now or soon and permanent. So we don't just can't bring water to them, water all the time. So that's what GSI is looking at. We're talking and we're thinking about this. Okay, what happens when GSI, and you probably heard this too, another study, you know, another testing. It needs to be done, you know, I mean, we all know that, and all our engineers, everybody knows the studies have to be done. But what we're proposing is we're proposing a consortium of the port and the county that's gonna take the information from GSI and they're gonna act on it. Because GSI is going to come up with specific projects throughout Oklahoma. I've talked to them several times and said, okay, now you guys are gonna attach dollar figures, because of different solutions, which you probably know, I'm probably saying a lot of you already know. Different solutions throughout the area. There might be one public water system here, might be a deeper well over here, shared well. So anyway, they're looking at individual solutions and they're coming up with realistic cost figures to do those projects. What I would like to have is to get a consortium in place, that when they get that done, they bring that to the consortium. And that consortium has one goal and one goal only. Find money and put pipe in the ground. And I'm using pipe in the ground to cover everything with actual construction. We want to get, you know, take it from after they're done and get that done. It's a big project, we all know that, it's long term. And the way this is set up is it will transcend, you know, staff changes, people getting reelected, all that stuff, because we all know it's probably gonna take a while. But this gives us structure and gives us a vehicle that will get these things done if it works, you know, it works the way we want it to. And the way it would work is kind of each one of our principals would contribute 2 people to the board on the consortium. And I borrowed some stuff from the broadband, which John Ricker on. So they kind of know how that works. And you know, that consortium is we're on the cusp of putting in actual project. I mean, we're close. It's a can-do organization, and that's the way I envision this. Is slim, very focused. Matt, our administrator, he's agreed to be the administrator of this consortium. And our finance department is going to take care of any of the grants, collection, administration, accounting, or, after the accounting for it after it's finished. And I look at the port as that each one of us have something to contribute to this. You guys have put in infrastructure for 50 years. I don't know, inside and out. I mean, this is your baby. We don't. We can't administer really. We have finance set up, we've bought them tools, we have planners, we have an administrator. So that's our contribution to it. Your contribution would be the knowledge that you have to bring to the table, plus some seed money. I borrowed that, you this budget in there, I borrowed from broadband. It's like 60,000 a year for each of us. And I just kind of lifted their budget. So there's a seed money, but there's also on each individual project. There's not specific, but possibly the board could contribute some in-kind services for that particular project. No big commitment, but I envision the administrator going to your engineer or your project fund and say, okay, we have this project, what can you contribute to support? Maybe use that as matching money. We would use our administrative contributions, maybe matching funds. I don't know. See, that I'm just kind of envisioning how this could go. And so like I said, we want it very focused. We want it very zeroed in. And now a lot of you have heard West Glen, and it's kind of the evidence for what drove this. It really is, which is a good thing. But there's consensus that that's a project that is pretty much, everybody thinks it needs it. It's there, it needs it, it has the nitrates. And a lot of us know what the solution is. So that would be probably the first project that this group would take on. As soon as they get that, they get an estimate on the cost, they go out and they start looking for grants. We probably heard, too, when you talk to federal, state people, there's money, I think, out there that are ready to go. And I think local businesses might contribute too. I think my dealings with business, and I've watched a lot of businesses and government too, is when you bring a project to them and say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. It's actual pipe in the ground, it's gonna cost this much, will you contribute? A lot of times they will, they like that, So that's the goal. And, we've heard talk already because of West Glen, this is gonna be super difficult, and all the things like that. But I'd like to turn it over to Matt, he has experience in this and kind of he's been thinking about it a lot, and it's gonna transcend to other areas too. Well, like I said, he's thinking about a lot of good things on this and how to get these things done. So I want to let him talk a little bit about it, okay?
Right. So with this consortium, over the years in dealing with the nitrate issues, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of studies on other sides, but there really hasn't been a tip to the spear to actually get in and do work. Recently with West Glen, we've been looking at this and we've applied for some funding opportunities through the state, which we're just waiting word from. And we're looking to actually, as we bring in all these parties, the county is positioned to actually be one of the key players in funneling that money and making sure things are taken care of. First of all, the nitrate issues are in unincorporated areas. So that's within our jurisdiction. We generally don't do water systems, but it's not unheard of, and it's very common when dealing with nitrates, phosphates, and other contaminants in the aquifers. But we need help. We don't have an extensive engineering group within the county governments at this time, and that's why we'd like to look at this consortium where we pull together the experts in the different fields. We pull together our place. Just last Friday, we received a letter from Governor Kotek, actually to Morrow County and Umatilla County, targeting specific grants for up to $10 and $20 million projects for public water systems. And with the injunction, more or less, to say the county is the best place to go with these monies. And we're willing to help support writing the grants, helping position the county so we can get these monies in to start making a change through on the nitrate issues within Morrow County. As we do that, we need a tool to get there. And we believe this consortium can pull together the interest and the expertise that's available and can actually get pipe in the ground. As we do so, we realize that there needs to be a lot of public engagement. I mean, these people are sitting here, they're running off of private wells, and those things need to be taken care of. And there needs to be some outreach, and we're looking at you know, how to do that, whether it's through the Water Advisory Committee. And fortunately, with West Glen, we're already down the path a little bit, about ready to pull a trigger on an RFP to get some of that public engagement going on there, and helping the community discuss with the county, who's going to be able to be bringing those funds in, the options to solutions rather than just delivering them water in a plastic jug. And so we believe that if we transition that one and get the feasibility studies, the water consortium can take over as we get additional funds and grants in place and start doing it. And we talk about West Glen, it's about 70 to 100 wells, and you know, just a fraction of how many we have in Morrow County. And so we believe this water consortium will be a continuing solution as we work through it, and can be the one to identify and bring in grants, and especially with the GSI EPA grant that we're working on, as they identify, here's a couple of the best solutions in these areas. And so we're hoping that we can get a vehicle to do a little bit less studying, and as Chair Sykes says, put some pipe in the ground. And so we'd ask for your consideration and involvement as the board, and any feedback on that. Our goal today is to you know, get more or less an agreement on an approach where we could meet with the administrators from both the board and the county with our legal teams to kind of work up exactly how that would go, using what Chair Sykes has provided as a basis, and any input from you, so that we can pull this together and bring it back for you for full consideration on. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We think it'd be a great tool, and would have a major impact on the residents of Morrow County. And we've talked with a couple of the, specifically Boardman City. I haven't officially went to Irrigan City, and they're interested in being a partner, because the cities will be a solution in their respective spheres. And I appreciate that Boardman City is willing to consider how they can help impact those areas, and are interested when we bring up solutions to see how they can help facilitate those in the proper means and considerations. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Any questions?
Bob, you have this consortium, how's that one working for the broadband, or?
I'm the chair, but it's working very well, actually.
You see this possibly something like that, or?
Yes, yeah, I can, bringing groups together that have decision-making power or influence over the projects is, yeah, it's a good way to do it, yeah.
And when we saw this earlier, we talked about not just the Portland County, but also the two cities and an additional group. Have you considered more of that, or is that part of what you're asking for today? Let's flesh this out a little bit later down the road.
Yeah, if we could get, if you guys agree with this and want to be part of it with us, well, it isn't gonna happen without, because I mean, the county isn't doing it, so we don't have, you know, we think that it should be, that you guys too, we don't think we should be out there pulling the whole over ourselves. We're trying to, because I don't think we do a very good job. Like I said, you guys have got so much history, so much knowledge. And you have done, in-kind work around the county, so that's what you would bring, we both bring something good to the table. And we could show, the state, the feds, the world, that we can take care of ourselves, we can take care of our people. Give us some money. We got the brain power, we got the go, get up and go, take care of our people. That's what I'm hoping this shows. And it puts a focus on it. Because right now, what happens when GSI gets done? Any plans? Anybody got any? I mean, it's just, what is another report that sits there? And so they kind of, you see what I'm saying? Gets it going so we get pipe in the ground, because I've heard it, I'm sure all of you guys have too. When are you going to get something going? So, and we all know it takes studies, it takes tests, because you don't want to just start throwing stuff money around. And you want it to be effective. Well, we have that. It's being done right now at a very good engineering firm. This will put that. The final thing on it that makes stuff happen. Like I said, very focused. But the details, well, if you approve it today, if you approve the concept today, Matt and I will go back, talk to our legal, like you said, talk to Lisa. Think about all these things, and if you guys have any suggestions, on how it might be structured, keep in mind. Don't want to go down the straight path, because you'll end up bogging down, Get money, put pipe in the ground. People, if you have suggestions on how you think it might work, please let us know. Of course, the idea is gonna come back to you, and that's the thing is, you're not committing to a total thing here. You're just committing to saying, yeah, we like this idea. We want to be part of it. We'll work with an IGA, bring it back to us, and we'll see what you come up with. Working with us. That's what we're asking today. So, and then as we move forward, there's gonna be 4 people on the board. That's what's been envisioned. 1 staff, 1 elected. Reason I want to see staff on there is because staff brings so much knowledge. And they, and then you have the electeds there, because we're gonna be spending public money, so they need they need to be represented. But there again, a can-do organization, that's what I'm wanting. And so the details, and I'd sure like to hear from any of you that have an idea about how you think this thing should be structured, drawing in a municipality that's close by, including them, we've thought about that, just kind of like Krez is, you bring in, when they're in a certain area of influence, you bring them in, they sit, they have, input, maybe that. And they could go to closer to another municipality. Then they would be drawn. There's a lot of ideas, but it's all here to make things happen. So.
Commissioner Sykes, on the broadband board, we have 1 board position at large. Would that be something you'd be willing to consider, like a community person or something like that?
Well, we've thought about that, and like I said, I want to make sure is, what is the purpose of that person being there, I mean, if there's a specific purpose for that person to be there, I'm all for it. And I know broadband, I know why we have it on broadband, and I know because it's a value to what we're doing, and that's all I want to do is just everything, keep our eye on the ball. I'll put things in, help us reach that ball, so I'm in favor of that if we see a purpose, in it. So that's my thoughts. And I know we want you guys' input on the whole thing.
I like the idea because of getting things done. We talk about it, whether it's at the Krez board meeting or various areas, meetings that we're a part of, the possibilities of providing help other than delivering water every week, or waiting for 30 years, maybe with strict regulation on farming to bring down the nitrate levels, if they even can be, having some autonomy for these people that live with nitrate problems, I think is a great idea. Honestly, I do. How we do it, how we get there, I would like to see if it's okay, if the port brings this back, I'd like to know what staff's thoughts are. Is the engineering department, does it have room to do this right now? We've got some significant challenges before us, and we're one engineer, if not more, down on what we're trying to do and design and get in the ground. And I'd also like to hear from staff too. Don't mean to say no, I'm not saying that, but if we could bring it back, and I'd like to hear some recommendations from our group, if we could. And then
And we're not, that's just a second, but we're not proposing which staff be on there.
Yeah, oh, no, I'm not.
So I'm not saying, that, you know, if you're a project manager, your engineers are super busy, you know, that's not what we're saying, so that you pick. But just remember, you know, you have that knowledge. Years and years and years and years of getting things done, you're a can-do organization, and you put in so much infrastructure, it's off the trucks.
Sure.
So that's the knowledge, plus. And so a staff person, that would be a conduit.
Lisa has a question.
I can comment really, because we did have a meeting already to, discuss this concept. I suggested at that meeting that we have one Morrow County, one Port of Morrow, one City of Erie, one City of Boardman, and one representative from H2O. The reason is, I think a 5-member board is stronger than a 2-member board. All of us, no matter who the agency is, you're gonna get their staff people along with it. So, I mean, we will do whatever we can out of our engineering department to help wherever we can. But the same goes for grant writing. I mean, we have grant writers that can work on finding sources of money. I liked the idea of bringing the cities in because I believe that for a couple particular neighborhoods, we're going to be leaning on the cities to put a pipeline in from their water system to another neighborhood. What that looks like, we don't know exactly yet, and it might be different between the cities. H2O, has already been working on these issues. They've been working on testing, they've been working on water. They have a lot of clout in the governor's office. They're a strong lobbying team, and they're big names, and they're here for the betterment of their employees and their employees' families. So I think buy-in from them is important. It shows that we are a very large team working together, which I believe looks great whenever you're going for a state or federal grant.
Remind again, what's the makeup of H2O?
Businesses in the region, including the ones here in the port, Deep Northwest, 3 Mile. Who else is in there?
Yeah.
Tillamook Land, see, I mean, it's a large, it's a large group.
Yeah.
I think what we don't have is community buy-in. And I sit with a community group that has not heard any of this, nor are they being offered a position on to the board. And it's their water systems that we're looking at, and I think they should have the majority say on what their systems look like. And without somebody from the community in these meetings and representing them, the community, I don't think you're gonna get the buy-in. I think it's very important that the community is represented. And quite frankly, the majority of the board should be the community.
I think
it's a different group, I think that's the application that Morrow County was submitted for state dollars. Is a project that would look at the engineering from city to a neighborhood and community meetings that would include getting that community buy-in. That's the step where I think that they would be involved.
And you're talking about SCP money?
Yeah.
And this support should not be involved in SCP. Any of that, as far as I'm understanding. Well, if we're doing engineering, or if we're putting pipes in the ground, and we're doing our own SCP projects, then that's problematic, probably.
Well,
I don't know how that works.
To address that, I mean, the SCP was, the SCP money was one thing that we looked at with West Glen. But that's not a for sure thing. And we're looking at actually bigger amounts of money from different sources that would not be SCP related. And so, I mean, we're really looking at for something that goes beyond these penalties that the courts happen to pay to bigger buckets of money that will really makes impacts. And when I see this, I look at opportunities where we go into a community like West Glen, we work with the people, if we have buy-in for a community system. And, you know, there's a lot of things, they've had their own wells, they haven't had to pay for water. We want to make sure that if Boardman hooks in, it doesn't impact their rates. There's a lot of moving parts on that we want to look at. But then there's other types of filters that we could do. And this organization through the county as a fiscal agent could apply for these grants, put them in place and say, here's this really cool sand filter that's going to be subsidized through this program. Just come to us, apply, we'll get that to you. And so we're not looking at just, you know, trying to shove down solutions into specific neighborhoods' throats. The study that we're doing with the EPA grants going to provide some direction on viable solutions for certain areas. And we want to try to make sure that this consortium is a vehicle to help all those different types of solutions go through. And so I don't, you know, there might be a time when we have the port bring their earth movers and move dirt for us. But a lot of times it's just going to be having that technical expertise to say, okay, here's this, and let's put an RFP out there. We've got the community involvement, and suddenly we have filters available, or we have services to help get those deeper wells that are encased better and can help provide people. So we don't want to say that this is the consortium just to put in community water systems. We really want to look at an all-encompassing approach, but having a body that's here locally, that has local input, and that we can affect changes for all different groups, not just West Glen, not just you know, other areas, but we really want to look at all the extensive impact that the nitrate issues had throughout our country. So it's pretty ambitious, and like I said, we don't want to shove a solution down people's throats that they don't want. And so we've got to be responsible, and we'll be working with those communities, specifically targeted where it is. So that's our hopes and goals as we work this out. And whether it's an IGA just between the port, or it becomes a consortium document, this is what these two are here to get direction on, where we can have non-governmental entities represented on it. We're open to those considerations. And I really appreciate the board of commissioners, you know, coming around saying, you know, it's easy to say county's never put any nitrate in the ground. Well, that's true, but it's our residents that are getting hit, and they've come to the conclusion that someone's got to step up and at least take leadership to help our residents and our businesses deal with this issue. So that's the goal of the consortium, not GA, and we're happy to work out the details and bring back a really solid draft for the port and the board of commissioners to consider. We just wanted to get it before you and not waste your staff's time if there is an interest in this.
Yes, great. So I like the idea of working collaboratively. I would like to look into this a lot further than where we are just today. I believe there's opportunities to do that, so I would strongly encourage maybe staff and maybe the chair work with.
Gee whiz, thanks, Rick.
With our legal team and the county, and see if there's some recommendation. You can come back before us and give us some guidance and see if this is something we can put together.
Yeah. I'm in favor of this consortium.
I think it's the
next step.
I
mean, studies are being done, and it's the next step to do something like this.
Yeah, and talk is cheap, but help to people that's what's needed, and not just delivering water each week for $10,000. Yeah, I guess I would like to know things like the SCP money coming in? Is it a conflict for the board to be involved in leadership on that? I mean, I need to know those things before we do those kind of things, but, so.
And that's why I'm making a recommendation that
Let's make it really clear, this group isn't applying for SCP. This consortium is not an applicant for SCP. Those two are separate discussions.
Okay, is that would not apply then? So you're saying-
I would proffer that if the SCP was awarded for our application, that we would either fully explore that, any conflicts, or we would do it as a county and contract that separately outside of this consortium. If we could put it under the consortium umbrella, sure, but if there's you know, any kind of fog of understanding on that, we'll work to keep that separate. But there's, I mean, the governor shooting out the letter of support. I mean, that's something that's awesome. I mean, she's hearing it from the community-based organizations, from the residents. She's getting that pressure, and she's wanting to put pressure on the federal government. We have our congressional delegates who keep asking us, what can we do? What do you need us to do? And we just need a tool to do it. And we think this kind of organization could, and we would be very careful. I know you've got this one SCP fee, fine, you might have another one. And if we want to use that for these things, I'll work diligently to make sure there's a separation and that we don't muddy the waters on those charges.
So we're in agreement, we task, Lisa with working with the county to bring us back some and Joe.
And Joe.
Sure.
No, I'm happy to help. So Lisa and I to explore this and work with the county to see where we might be going.
yes.
Okay. I get you enough for what you were asking for? Good.
I'm going to excuse myself, but thank you.
You bet. Okay, next is resolution 2024-11, financing resolution.
Okay, so as we discussed previously, we are having some questions coming up with Dorothea and some slowdowns there. And we have some things that we need to start in 2 weeks. And so this is a resolution to authorize the temporary financing. It doesn't specify the interest rate because our tax attorneys have not yet determined what part of the project can be sold as tax exempt versus taxable.
Who decides that?
Well, we have to have an opinion from a tax attorney saying that what we decided is proper.
Okay.
And, we are working on that. Like anything that involves tax law, there's different opinions, what the law says and means and. The other thing that you'll notice when you look at this resolution is we added another project. Part of the short-term financing is a guarantee of at least a year being outstanding. Nobody wants to lend money and put in all that effort if they're not going to get at least a year's worth of interest. So we're looking at a 3-year financing callable after 1 year without penalty. And so the question came up, what of these projects do you think you might want to get started on before next year? And so we added another one. So we're looking at the land purchase, the 2 storage lagoons, and the removal of pond solids from our existing. So those are all existing projects in our WIFIA application. And that brought that total up to 244 million. Not that we anticipate spending that in a year. It depends on the timing of the removal of pond solids, really, basically. So once you move it to that number and we add capitalized interest and the finance fees, they just put a number in here of 350 million, just to make sure we were covered for anything that we needed in the next year. So that's the reason behind the difference. It's no new project, it's just possibly giving us the flexibility to move some of those projects forward if it works for the port to do so. This would also authorize Lisa to, or her designee to, complete the negotiations, which would include the taxability, not taxability, interest rate, you know, just the fine details, but we need authorization on this financing to move forward.
And when you say obligation, is that like a general obligation bond? Are these like, these are different things?
Full faith and credit. And, note, loan, obligation are all the same thing.
Same thing, okay. And then they can sell $100,000 chunks of it, is that, or someone can buy parts of it? Is that what this?
Well, they are working with investors as we speak. They're working with 7 primary, 2 of which would be willing and able to take the full amount. And when we're not talking individuals, we're talking institutional fund managers.
Okay.
Is who we're talking.
Okay.
But no, we have no desire to go out and sell a bunch of those bonds, which that was the other change that took place. They moved that $5,000 increments to $100,000 increments.
Right. And then just one more question. Put the book entry, the issue, what does a book entry mean? If it is a book entry or not a book entry, it seems to make a difference. Is that
Okay, you're gonna have to point me to where and I may or may not be able to answer.
I looked it up and it means electronic
Oh.
or a paper.
Or paper.
So it's either a certificate or it can be filed electronically. That's the difference.
Oh, okay.
I did look that up.
Oh, that's,
Okay.
okay.
And that does not matter to us.
No, it's not.
So what happens down the road? Say Whitfield lines up and Whitfield money can buy this short-term financing now.
Okay, actually, we went down this road because Whitfield told us to. Because they weren't coming to the same conclusions we were coming to, and they said, okay, you've got to move forward, do this. And, so that is certainly the plan and the hope. However, we're being assured that some of these same investors would be willing to look at a long term, should we not come to a final agreement. Yeah. But it's both of our people that reported on our legislative, we have legislators working on it, we have the governor's office working on it. We have the EQ working on it for us.
And I applaud you for being able to do this two different ways. You've got 2 different things going on in order to get it done.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is more expensive, but I can't tell you exactly how much more expensive this is. But we came down to not having an alternative.
Yes.
If we want to stay on schedule with the DEQ on the condition. Which we do.
And construction.
And it's
So secondary treatment, where are we at with that? Is that with the alone gonna, are we still going forward with secondary treatment?
Yes, we are still working on secondary treatment. We're working
And that would be
with our-
part of the WIFIA, but not part of this.
It is not included in short-term financing right now.
That's in our MOU, say that we need to have that in place by 2025 and our permit as well.
We are working with DEQ on this. They know that we have a problem with budget. And we're going back and maybe scaling it down. What DEQ is really worried about is the spike in our systems. So right now it says 7 parts per million. for winter application. We know we won't be winter applying in the future, especially after winter begins. So maybe we're at 16 parts per million. Maybe we're at 22 parts per million after secondary treatment instead of the 9 parts per million right now. So we're having weekly conversations with DEQ on this. We're talking with our design teams. And in fact, Jacobs is going to be working on this nonstop for the next 2 weeks.
So we
Awesome.
So we were quite a bit over budget on this, are we reducing that down? Is the RFP gonna look a lot different? Are we reducing the volume? Are we reducing?
We are looking at a lot of different options. We're looking at different technologies. Not sure we want to go that direction. We're also looking at taking one whole train off the existing system and just building it.
What does that mean, Morrow train?
Well, it's designed with an extra train right now. So when you do maintenance, you can still keep it at 7 parts per million. So if we pull one train off, 99% of the time, we'll be running both trains. One train may have to go down for maintenance. But during the growing season, it really doesn't matter. During non-growing season, it doesn't really matter either because it'll be blended into 2 750 million gallon ponds. So our nitrates be greatly reduced. So.
I would say our base design is overwhelmed with redundancy, right? So we're lacking the redundancy aspect of refining it down to a million per day number that we can live with and not have to go into issues in 3 or 4 years.
Redundancy isn't a good thing. Seems like if we
it
put it
is.
in the beginning, why are we taking it out now? Why did we think it was a good idea in the beginning? Now we decided that we don't need redundancy, I guess.
It'd be hard to, it's $50 million more than budget. I don't think we can borrow that much money. Especially if there's not a solution that would be able to work. I mean, we're working with DEQ on this, they know it's going, and they know the issues.
So when we send that into like the Whitfield people, are we gonna have that new design ready to go for them? In the short term?
Not in the short term, but yes, that is the plan.
So it would have to be redone, the Whitfield stuff would be redone to
It depends
incorporate.
on what we do. But it doesn't care about the secondary treatments.
Okay,
They care whether we're going to comply with the DEQ.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And because it come over budget. Now we're concerned that we can pay for is this much, and now you're thinking, let's pare that down to
That's kind of.
essential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once I mentioned in our meeting last week, or just keep us informed in the discussion, please. This is something that will go out. Yes, we need to have a cohesive plan when we go forward with this, should we have to change. So please just keep us as a commission informed on what's going on.
Okay. So we have a resolution for $350 million.
I move approval of resolution number 2024-11.
I'll second. Joel has moved and Rick is second. Any other discussion? This item. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. SPO board and management training. We already talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did I jump over on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I did, didn't I? Sorry about that. Okay, any other new business?
I think that we will have some action items once we go into executive session and out on real estate transactions. and then also water reserve, talking after the executive session.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Okay, so, at our September 13th meeting, Lisa told me that we had received direct legislative funding for the South Morrow County projects, $1 million towards Ione's wastewater and $1.5 million towards some road and sidewalk improvements for Heather. We did not ask for your approval at that time, and we just got the project's details back from the two cities. We're getting ready to send them off to the state, and we would like to have authorization to submit that to the state. And it says right on there, Joe can sign without something from the commission, but we just thought we should just do it.
I'll wait for you. I still moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Joel is moving and John is seconded.
Okay, now,
Go ahead.
what I don't know is at the same time, do you want to authorize someone to sign the grant agreement when it finally comes?
We probably should. Probably should,
Yeah.
I would include that in the motion.
Okay,
You want me to sign it? She's pointing at me.
Oh,
yes. So, I'm okay. And authorize Joe to sign it. Yes.
okay, and
Sure.
because we just did pass through grant, we intend to do agreements with these two entities before we get anybody. Is our goal.
So that's what I was going to say, us taking care of these pass-throughs from the state of Oregon. We never even know which agency the money's going to be funneled through. We know their directed spending and.
It does say it's lottery funds, so there shouldn't be any federal rules involved this time.
And it's difficult and it takes a lot of staff time, but it puts millions of dollars back into our communities, so. That's why we do this, this $1.5 million is going into Hefner, the other $1 million going into Ione. Ione, if they didn't get this money, they couldn't do more of their project. I mean, it's all really good things, but what we learned is we need a very detailed agreement with the recipients that come from us. Because they're obligated to the requirements that we have for the state, so we're just going to put it in writing and have them sign it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so the motion as it stands is okay? Okay, with the amendment.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, with me authorizing, okay?
Okay.
Any other discussion? On that, okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, any other new business that we need to discuss, okay? We'll move on down to staff reports and warehouse update.
I would like to say that we started condensing our project updates, for the written summaries, but I think every month we will have one department come and give you a presentation. So, Mark, you want to hear?
Man, it's been a while since we've had Marcy in here.
I know,
Well, for the month of July, we handled 76.9 million, which is about 1.6 million less than we did the year before, but. Well, was down for 11 days, and that's the reason for the cause of that, inventory being down. The cooler currently is at 78% full, which is about 7,700 pallets, 90 pallets. Our storage is about 52% full, but we're working on getting some, the system there as well, so. And possibly using it inside. There at the dry storage, so currently we're in B. Our big thing right now we're working on is we're reviewing the contracts with Mount Weston, rate increases. And the contract negotiation, Mark and Lisa and I am just have been involved with that. Getting ready for our AIB for our good manufacturing practices audit this August at the end. August here, so we're really focusing on reviewing our SOPs and also doing our cleaning that we need to be doing. Our employee reviews have been completed. Saw a little bit of difficulty with allowing us to SOP changeover. The tools, but they have more focus groups now that are singling out the issues that they're having. We're meeting more on a weekly basis to try to resolve some of those issues. So it is getting less than it was back in November. So that is getting better. And then we're also working with J&J Snap to do EDI, which is electronic data interchange for their customer for Costco. So they're asking for us to print out a label that has all the information on it, along with the item ID, quantity. So once it gets to their facility, they can scan that to get an automatic uploads into their system. We also did two tours this last month. We did the nuts, bolts, and thingamajig, and then we had some students from development and I feel like that's we always enjoy the kids and a lot of fun. So I'm having much good on the weapon.
No, I don't. Yeah. Projects update. Is Tim gonna do that one?
Looks like he dropped off.
Oh, okay, Jacob, go ahead.
So Bill continues to close out. We awarded fence material bids for some of the cleanup fencing. We got a big barbed wire, UP right away, chain link and pedestrian fencing up along the bridge. The striping is yet to be scheduled. It's based upon the same priority right in our airport. So they want to do local and mobilization. Airport completes paving today, so we can have stripers scheduled 28 days. So we're expecting to know a date in a couple of days. We've got a crane on order. I forget what the delivery date is on the crane. We worked through the paint schematic on the new crane over the last few weeks and got that ironed out. We had a couple of representatives go up to look at the crane, said it's a really good shape. So we should be having that delivered in coming months.
Yes, it's September.
Where was that going then?
Yes, in Pasco.
So guardrail materials, we awarded to a guardrail supplier and installer. We went through submittals, the material on order, waiting for those to arrive so they can finalize the guardrail. So that should pretty much close out the build project. Airport's going well, paving completes in the next, well, today. Hopefully, if it doesn't finish today, it'll be 2 hours tomorrow, but most likely it'll finish today. A lot of striping going on in 2 weeks or 28 days. Signage, roadway signage alongside the road is going to be installed next week. Capital also coming to do the road signage piece of that project. We've got a bunch of port employees out there currently. We're installing the light pole bases for the roadway lighting. We're installing the power infrastructure for the road lights, as well as additional conduit for a CenturyLink. We kind of poured the CenturyLink cables out of the ground going out through there, so we had to replace the conduit. Other than that, the water infrastructure at the airport is moving ahead. We have agreements in place, still recontracting to install all the main line. Materials, they're ordering materials currently, we're waiting on submittals, so we can improve that. So we'll have some more lines on the ground, hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days. 10 million gallon tank at the airport has been bid, contractor select, we're waiting on submittals for it. So we can get going on concrete foundation installation and distribution stations, building package will put out for bid, and all the materials inside of the building. So the last segment of that is we're 100% aligned to circular treatment plant at the airport and still working on that agreement. So we're full speed ahead out there.
R5 is going well. All center pivots on the expansion. Center pivots are installed. Going to build manifolds right now. We're hoping to have that up and running October. This winter. Things are going pretty good right now, so hopefully we hit that date. Yeah, they're on the flood mitigation. We're supposed to be starting test holes at the end of the month. to get that EQ stuff taken care of, signed off, so I can get that taken.
I appreciate the information on the time of the grant funds too. I mean, thank you. We have some time. Of course, DEQ, we realize takes a little time.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
What else? What else?
Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah.
Keep it on. Beach Beach next, almost ready to run. Have you built it, the new, well, the tank?
We have not built it yet.
Okay.
Still waiting on scheduling from the tank supplier. They've got to come in and do some chlorinating to get the tank put in service.
Yeah. Then cross up, pictures. You know that. Everybody's got a few. Well, Civic Center, yeah, I can't forget about Civic Center. It's a huge project. It's actually starting to look pretty good. That's the new parking lot right there. Striped out. Paintings. Getting their completion on the inside.
You say the paint's almost
Yeah.
complete? Really?
Yeah.
This was on this right here, they were putting the ceiling panels up,
Yeah.
those were starting to go up.
There's the raised guy. And you guys said it was.
It goes off.
That is one
Get out
straight
there, too.
fast.
Before that.
Exactly.
Other items, sure.
Oh, you know, you play barbecue. That's really good.
It's been hot, everybody's in the shade, but it's like.
It was hot.
It was hot, but it wasn't miserable.
Oh, it was pretty nice.
I was pretty sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, anything else on maintenance and projects? Okay, financial update?
Okay, you'll see in your packet, updated, cash schedule, showing our restricted and unrestricted balances. You'll not see a July budget actual. The auditors are coming up Tuesday and we had a bunch of new finance stuff, you know, so I apologize. It just didn't.
What time Tuesday?
Oh, shoot. Design work for you?
But not what?
Design work for you?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, our auditors, arrived at 9 or they arrived Tuesday morning. And we'll have our audit committee meeting at 9 AM. And, they plan to be here for 3 days. And generally speaking, they get through everything that we have here. But this is the every other year where we have to wait for an actuarial calculation of our quote post-employment benefits. And we're still going through special districts, they pay for that. But along with that is we're on the schedule and we probably won't have that until October.
Anything else nothing out of whack too much, they can see?
No, the comment was the more infrastructure we put in, the more our depreciation starts going up and before too many more years. It's going to be an interesting number on the financial statements. But we'll walk you through that at the time, so that
Yeah.
you don't like say, oh, how come you're not making as much money as you used to? Well.
Yeah, for quite a while. All right. All right, thank you, Eileen. Usage reports, you break that those in there. Folks, have any questions on any of those usages? Okay. Anything, on other staff reports, if there's any questions? Okay, moving on to other reports, Willow Creek Valley, is anybody on? Thank for Willow Creek Valley, doesn't look like it, BCDA. Nobody's here for that. I can move that feet in the summertime, so.
And they're just marked.
Yeah, that's it.
We haven't had a meeting.
But actually, we did come up with a point of more money for the
Yeah.
sewage system, to make sure I can get it done, so. It's getting closer and closer.
Yeah, we're supposed to actually shovels in the ground, probably like September.
September, awesome.
Right.
Yes.
Hoping to be done.
Wow.
Okay, and any other for these reports? I don't think so. For the good of the order, Commissioner, do you have anything?
I need to make a declaration of conflict of interest before we go into executive session on real estate proposition, right? So I will abstain from discussion and decision on that.
So is that a actual
That's right,
conflict?
it's actual.
Actual conflict. Thank you, Pat. Okay, so upcoming events, our next commission meeting on September 11th, you can see that. So we will be going into executive session, so if you'll bear with me, I'll read this before we take a recess. The board will hold an executive session meeting for the permissible reasons stated below under ORS 192.6602. Representatives of the news media and designated staff and other persons shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All members of the audience will be asked to leave the room. The public virtual Zoom meeting link will be closed during the executive session as permissible executive session meetings are not subject to HB 25(6). Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session that could see now. No decision will be made in this executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room in person and open the public virtual Zoom meeting link again. A, for the purpose of consideration of deliberations with reports, executive director and other staff members who have been designated by the court to negotiate transactions related to the sale or lease of real property, ORS 192.660. To E and B, for the purpose of consultation with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of the public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. ORS 192.6602H. And with that, we'll take a 5-minute recess and then reconvene in executive session. Okay, it's like it's 4:51, we'll reconvene here in open session. All commissioners still present. Got Sam Tucker on the Zoom meeting. We got a few things to go through. First would be big coil.
First is Coyle. To negotiate a sale agreement with J. Coyle for additional up to 2 acres.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And execute signage of it.
Approximately 2 acres of that.
Yeah, whatever. I'll move.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, John has moved and Joel a second to approve the lease to negotiate up to 2 acres for J. Coyle. Yeah, discussion. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, the next is the property of Aaron Favor. A little more detail on that, Mark. I didn't write it down.
It's approximately 1.5 acres. Around there. Existing condition.
And so we're selling it to them, right?
We're selling to them.
Yeah.
And then just a lot line adjustment, you said? How that works?
It's actually,
I think it's already been done.
Yeah.
it's already been done, it's done like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay. I move approval of the Quaver sale.
Okay,
I'll second.
Joe moved, John seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That was a deal where Ryan made that we're just, or trying to.
Oh, Nambros, so John told me to remind me of that, I still forgot. So in our executive session, I declared a possible conflict of interest with Cal Farms. Because I do business with them, same here, I'll declare a public session, I have a potential conflict of interest. And I'll just abstain from voting on this, be clear. Okay.
I'll take over this discussion now.
Okay.
Yep. If you would like.
Go right.
Yeah, we have a motion, or we have, I would entertain a motion to, for this. What is it, was it a sale? Yeah, I need to remind the property.
By the property back.
We have right for sure.
I, two by the property, I don't think, anyone, we already have the place.
Yeah.
Would you make that motion, Mike? So moved. Thank you. Second,
I'll second.
we have a motion, a second, is there further discussion on this? All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Special note, that Joe abstained. Yep.
Good. Okay, and the lodge, what did you want a motion up for the lodge?
If you would like to make one, I can tell you the name of the new company.
And perhaps add the motion and authorize Lisa to sign as it is normal for business.
New company name is BD Real Life LLC.
You do real life, I know.
Your motion for that?
I move that we approve a lease transfer
Lease transfer.
for the riverfront property and authorize Lisa to sign that.
I'll say.
Okay, Kelly moved and John seconded to approve that transfer with BD Real Life LLC. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Any other things?
We don't have the PSA on our property purchase yet, so we can do that or we can do it pretty quickly.
Is there a time, date?
So I got one.
What's that?
I was told we'd have, or we'd have it by Friday. But I get told a lot.
Yeah, wait, see then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
As a update, we have our S&P rating meeting scheduled for Monday afternoon.
What again?
Financing.
Yeah, S&P rating.
Oh, no, right.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about a comment I made earlier in the meeting. I just would like to clarify my comment. Because I don't want somebody to think that I'm in favor of heavily regulating farms to bring down nitrate levels in the region. I just mentioned that off the cuff, because we could even do that and it would not make a difference in 30 years, I don't believe. Responsible farming practices will be just fine.
Yeah.
Not advocating different regulation.
And responsible farming practices have changed.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And
There is,
Technology, and stuff, yeah.
they're responding to the challenge.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Report. Okay. 4:57 on Jeremy. No. Thank you.